Welcome to Locked On Golden Knights. Barry Trotz interviews in Winnipeg on Tuesday. Will VGK get its turn to interview the hottest free agent coach on the market?
Or Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco along with Chris Golick. You could follow us at Locked On VGK, both on Twitter and now on YouTube. Myself at Tony Dasco on Twitter. Chris Golick is TD Chris G on Twitter, and welcome aboard. And Chris, Barry Trotz on Tuesday had an interview, but it wasn't with VGK. It was with Winnipeg. That is his home province. And there were also reports coming out on Tuesday that Trotz is now the top candidate for the Flyers head coaching position. Elliot Friedman said that he heard that the Flyers, even though the VGK rumors are swirling around, the Flyers perhaps could be a more legitimate play. Trotz, 60 years of age, as we know. He started with the Predators in the National Hockey League, moved on to Washington, and then to the Islanders, and we're trying to figure out where his next stop will be, but we're following obviously all the movement with Barry Trotz because we still believe, perhaps, that he is the number one candidate for the Vegas Golden Knights vacancy.
Yeah, going to the Winnipeg side of things, that's home for him, as you mentioned. I think he possibly wants to be closer to his father as well for some underlying health conditions. There's some reports that have come out about that, and if that's his reasoning for going to Winnipeg instead of Las Vegas, God bless him, and hope the family is well. And you know, family and life first. Hockey can wait, so to speak, I guess you can say. As far as Philadelphia, obviously that's an attractive position as well, if that's where he ends up. You know, I don't know if Trotz is the fit. I don't know if Trotz is the identity, if we're going to go that direction. A defensive first team is a great identity, I guess. I'll start by saying that. But I don't know if we currently have the roster composition where Trotz can maximize his effectiveness. VGK is not a defense-first type of team. Even with all their injuries, they were still not a defense-first type of team. So if Trotz winds up in Winnipeg or Philadelphia, that's okay. VGK fans do not need to jump off the bandwagon. I know he's a nice, shiny new toy that, you know, VGK could use, but there's other really nice toys out there that I think can help VGK in Season 6.
Yeah, I guess, you know, I was at the Las Vegas Aces WNBA game last night with a lot of my media friends that also cut the Golden Knights, and a lot of the fans. That's the major topic of discussion, I think, in this city right now. And the one choice still appears to be Trotz. However, again, there is that debate about whether or not he's a good fit, a defensive coach with a team that should be a high-flying team that just races up and down the ice. And to me, I just feel there could be a lot of changes made. And, of course, you can adapt to the coach style, and the coach can adapt to the players. That's just my feeling, and that's why I still would like to have a proven coach that can win and has a pretty decent Stanley Cup under his belt.
I'm 100% with you on a proven winner, Stanley Cup pedigree. All those measurables, I think, are extremely important as VGK continues their coaching search that apparently just started on Monday. It was before that, I promise, but they say it just started this past Monday. Looking past Trotz, and again, Trotz might be the man still, and that's great if that does happen. Rick Tocchet, Joel Quenneville, Paul Maurice, Rick Tocchet. Did I say Rick Tocchet already? I don't know. Either way, I may have said his name twice. Those are kind of where I would concentrate the search. Joel Quenneville, again, there does come some weight behind that, and there's other things that need to be discussed. But just simply talking about Joel Quenneville, the hockey coach, you look at what happened in Chicago. took a very skilled team to 3 Stanley Cup victories, other deep playoff runs. And this VGK roster has a lot of similarities to those Blackhawks rosters that were having all that success. And I think someone like Joel Quenneville could come in and have immediate success right out of the gate. Rick Tocchet, I can make the same argument for. Paul Maurice, I do like Paul Maurice, but there's the friendship, the bias, if you will, with DeBoer. So I just don't think Maurice even is in the conversation. But I would really like to center things around Rick Tocchet and Joel Quenneville right now. If I was the one writing the check for our new VGK coach.
So, yeah, and with Paul Maurice, he resigned from the Jets, and then, of course, Dave Lowry came on and did a pretty adequate job with Winnipeg, but they want to step it up a notch. And I don't think it would be good news for the VGK to have a Barry Trotz, here in the West as well. And, the Tocchet name keeps coming up, and I think that he might be the solid number 2 choice, or maybe it's the organization's number 1 or top choice. But again, he's about 58 years old, was with the Coyotes. We know that about a year ago, he stepped down. He was close to 500, okay, with his record there. So that's a pretty good job because that is not a good organization. He also coached the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then he won the Stanley Cup as an assistant with the Pittsburgh Penguins 2016 and 7. So, of course, if it is Tocchet who is called, then I think a lot of folks might be linking Marc-Andre Fleury with Tocchet in return here. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But Tocchet, was also a player in the National Hockey League. And is his style conducive to the talent, to the personnel that he has here in Las Vegas?
I think so. Again, a proven winner on the assistant side, 500 with the Coyotes. That's pretty darn good, in my opinion, because using your words, not a great organization as far as their spending and the roster they put together. And it seems like that's where all the rosters get parked as far as retiring players and all of that weirdness goes. Funny thing, I don't know if you saw this, but the Arizona Coyotes aren't even going to have any branding on the ice when they play at that stadium. I just saw that this morning, and I don't know. But moving past that, Rick Tocchet, I mean, I like Rick Tocchet. I do. I think he's got some of the fire behind the bench. He'll show a little more emotion than DeBoer would. I mean, outside of DeBoer getting on the officials a couple times, I don't think I really saw a fiery side of DeBoer. And it's not a bad thing. It's just not his style. But Gallant, when he was upset about something, he would let it go. I remember a game in season 1. I think it was Anaheim, and they beat them 3-2 or something like that. But there was only like 4 or 6 seconds left at the end of the game. A deep face-off in the VGK zone, and VGK was just very nonchalant on the face-off. Let a puck get to the point and a big rebound. We won the game. But Gallant, he just started tearing the team apart on the bench because they just simply didn't finish the game. They got lucky to win. And I think Tocchet has a lot of that same pedigree, some of that same anger going and stuff like that when needed. So VGK needs a coach who is going to be on them from day number 1. You can't sacrifice any points, as we learned this year. You can't just say, "Oh, okay, the team mailed this one, and we're going to burn the tape." That type of mindset really needs to change going into season number 2.
John Tortorella's name still out there, a lot of buzz around his name. And again, this was a team, and we pointed it out repeatedly during the course of this last season. The Golden Knights did not play inspired. They weren't fired up in like a lot of the key games. Emotionally, the team just did not have that spark. And I don't know, again, that's on the head coach, okay? So that's another knock, in my opinion, against Pete DeBoer because it's like they didn't look motivated when they came out on the ice. And that's something I know that Tortorella would do if he came here. He would have this team fired up. There's no doubt that they would play to a higher level. Did they need that? Did they need someone to kind of push them a little bit further? Because emotion is a big part of not just sport, obviously, of the National Hockey League. And I think that was something they really lacked this last season.
So a few things on Tortorella. Number 1, I don't know if this city is ready for Tortorella. I'm just going to start by saying that. Second thing about Tortorella, what I like about him is he's no nonsense. He's the type that probably slammed the door in the GM's face if the GM wanted to start talking about line makeups and stuff like that. So from
Good.
that perspective, I like that.
I like
But
it.
I don't think there's a chance in hell VGK Kelly McCrimmon wants someone who's not going to be the puppet, for lack of a better term. Coaching styles now, very famous, very famously issues with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tortorella. They just weren't gelling and such, and you're seeing him just benching his star players when things aren't going well. Fine, I get that. When you make a mistake, old school mentality is you bench the player and you sit there and you feel shame. But Gerard Gallant, season number one, he very commonly, when someone did something wrong, he gets them right back out there. He did not want the players having any fear of failure while they're out there. I mean, it's National Hockey League. It's best on best. The best players in the world competing. There are times another player is going to make you look absolutely silly. You're going to be out of position, and next thing you know, Connor McDavid burns you. And are you going to sit Braden McNabb because Connor McDavid just made you look silly? Hell no. So that's why a coach like Tortorella, I mean, just if we ever got media credentials, I'd be so scared to ask that guy a question. He'd probably throw a cell phone at me.
You might. Coming up next, we talk about VGK's presence in front of the net this past season as we reflect on a lot of things that happened, what went right, what went wrong. You're watching and linked to Locked On Golden Knights. With the ever increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now possible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts that you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only the brand that their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers and you also have something in your pocket called a cell phone. And so just go to rockauto.com at home again or on your phone. And why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for a lot of the auto parts that the chain stores have or a car dealership might carry? Example, Honda Odyssey fuel pump is $353 from a chain store, just $216 from Rock Auto. Rock Auto is something that you need to check out. Family business, it goes way back, serving do-it-yourselfers for the past couple of decades. And go to rockauto.com right now, see all the parts available for your car, for your truck, and write Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts that your car will ever need. It's rockauto.com, rockauto.com. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick here in Las Vegas. And again, we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And Chris, we wanted to talk before the news had broken about Pete DeBoer about VGK and what we'll call net front presence. And some stats that were delivered by Sports Logic came out. And I'll go through each one at a time, and we could talk about these categories, okay, one by one. So the VGK ranked 12th this season in deflections, 12th in the NHL. Okay, not so bad. 2.8 deflections per game. And again, deflections come out, again, presence in front of the net.
That's interesting. So those deflections, is that deflections that lead to a shot on goal, or is it simply
Yes.
when a shot? Okay.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's kind of
Middle of
remarkable
the
in my
pack.
opinion that they're
Not
top
bad.
12 because
Yeah.
we do make the comments about the eye test that there doesn't seem to be a lot of net front presence, but I mean, your top 12, almost top 10 in the league, top third, if you will. They're getting bodies to the net, which is creating opportunities. So that's interesting. What else do you got? Let's keep going with this. This might be fun.
Okay, so we just have three category rankings. The second one is screened shots.
Okay.
Screened shots. And VGK wound up 14th in the National Hockey, slightly under 5 screened shots per game, 4.9. And to me, that's still a higher number than I might have projected myself. I really thought that the Golden Knights did not have a lot of action in front of the net, and I didn't think that they did a good job in screening. There weren't a lot of screens in my estimation, but when you go back and look at the numbers, about 5 per game.
So, question: do you have just VGK stats, or does it show you the
Yeah,
entire
I just got
rankings?
no, I just got the VGK
Okay.
stats. I was just thinking it would have been great to see what the better numbers were.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, and maybe we can have a follow up with that. Middle of the road in screens, top third, if you will, if we're going to try and split hairs out of this, top third, if you will, in deflections. I didn't equate to enough goals, obviously. So maybe these are, lazy deflections and such like that. You look at some of the tip plays and stuff that happens where you'll have a winger coming up from the boards and something like that, and you got a pass coming from the point, and it's a tip play that comes from like 12, 13, 15 feet out. You don't see VGK getting a lot of goals like that, and those are incredibly difficult for a goalie to stop when they are properly executed. So I would like to see more of stuff like that, which would certainly, I think that would probably qualify as a tip-in. As far as the bodies in front of the net and the screens, middle of the road, I guess. I'd be curious to see like who the bottom three and top three teams are as far as how that goes, to see if VGK should be doing more or less of it. But we go back to it. There were so many times last season where they're on the power play, point, 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 maybe one pass a little bit deeper, point shot, nobody in front of the net. Nobody is there. And even if there's a rebound, the goalie just pounces right on, or a defenseman clears it right out. Or on the flip side of that, it seemed like at times that we would forget about the the player screening our goalie, or sitting about 3 to 5 feet outside of the crease just waiting for it, and that's by design. We covered this on a show probably about 3 weeks ago. At times, teams just simply do not cover the player in front of the nets. They let him sit there, and it's just a style of play where they're worried about stopping the pass coming across versus the rebound. And I think that really comes with the goalie that's in the net. Logan Thompson did have very solid rebound control, where Robin Leonard at times did not have that solid rebound control. We saw that on that glove save where he kind of olayed it, and it goes right to the front. I think it was the game. I don't know if it wasn't the Caps game. It was right before that. There was just
Was it the
three
Flyers?
goals, and it might have been. It
Oh,
was a game where whatever game where they came in
yeah,
and they scored the goal
they
where he was
yanked him.
just
The
standing like
Chicago.
no,
It
where he
was
was
in
standing like a
Chicago?
statue. Where he was standing like a
Yeah.
statue. Whatever
Okay.
game that was, where he's just
Yeah.
standing like a statue and the puck went in. I know we're kind of going off key right now, but point being, we covered that game specifically, and there was, outside of that goal, there was 2 or 3 other goals where the rebound control was just terrible. And if VGK would have had that defensive net front presence, it doesn't happen. But that's an example of having to adjust your style of play for the goalie. If Robin Leonard's going to leave those rebounds, you got to park someone in front of that crease. If Logan Thompson has a little better rebound control, or Brossoit, then you can go with that style of play where you're going to focus more on stopping the pass before it gets to the net versus letting him shoot.
Okay, so screenshots again, about 5 per game. I think that the top line probably, I would say the top line would most likely lead in deflections, perhaps, or the top 6. I think the fourth line probably would be the leaders in screenshots. Again, they were good with the forecheck. They were good with putting some bodies in front of the net. What are your thoughts?
Whenever I play NHL 22, if I'm going to set my strategies and such, line one, line two, it's either behind the net, or you go for like a cycle type of skill plays, and then lines 3 and 4 I always set for crash to the net and just let them rip from the point and hope one of my forwards gets there for a deflection, or gets there for that tip in, so to speak, or cleans up the loose change in front of the nets. So, but I do support exactly what you're saying. The less skilled players are going to be out there thumping, and Will Carrier is going to park in front of the net, or Keegan Colasar, and they're going to hope that rebound is just sitting there, and boom, there it is. The top six, that's where your cycle comes from. A lot of your plays are going to start from the corners or behind the nets. And you just give your skill players a chance to get open. Go back to Jack Eichel, of course. He's going to take the puck, do a couple laps, wait till he finds someone. If he can't find someone, do a couple more laps. And, hopefully VGK can find a good complementary wing for Jack Eichel so he can carry the puck a little bit less and find someone a little bit sooner.
The most tell stat as far as the lack of presence in front of the net, in my estimation, and you alluded to it defensively, but rebound chances on the offensive side in the O zone. VGK 25th in the NHL on rebounds is less than 2 per game at 1.6. 1.6 per game, and that is really bad. That's very weak. Again, it just shows that they're not putting bodies in front.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good example. We can, you look at the deflection stat, at the screen stat, and then you can always find a counter stat out there that's going to possibly either give you a deeper dive or tell you the whole story. Yes, we're getting some deflections. Yes, we're getting some screens. But if you're getting you said less than 2 rebound chances a game.
That's awful.
Right? Yeah, that's
awful.
Most of the goals come from the dirty area that is within, 5 to 6 feet of the crease. Maybe that little 10-foot, 10-foot semicircle if you were to extend a new one outside of where the goalie crease is. That's where the lion's share of your goals come from. Even the skill teams that do have the players that can move the puck, they still find ways to get people into that dirty area and convert opportunities. If you're only getting a couple of those opportunities a game, that's ridiculous. And a great example I'll use is a player who is excellent at cleaning up those types of situations, Alec Martinez. How often do we see where plays come up on the right side? It could be a pass, a low shot. Goalie doesn't have good rebound control. Puck comes across. There's Alec Martinez right inside the faceoff circle getting an opportunity. That's how he scored his game-winning Stanley Cup clinching goal with the Kings back 7-8 years ago, whatever that was now. And those are the types of opportunities you have to be all over and creating. Alec Martinez, wonderful at that. And I think just those low shots that create those opportunities, just those little lazy wrist shots, not the ones that go into the goalie's chest, not the ones that bounce off the logo, but they're ice level, maybe a foot or two up, depending on what kind of traffic you got, so you can get over the sticks and such. But they dive, they hit the ice right in front of the goalie, so they have to make a decision to get their stick down and either eat that puck so there's no rebound, or deflect it out into a corner, and that's much easier said than done when you got a little wrist shot coming 65 to 80 miles an hour on the ice. They need to chip off into the corner.
Very telling stats, and the lack of net front presence for VGK, and why perhaps they didn't score as many goals as they should have this past season. Again, I'm sure that the front office for VGK saw these numbers, and it contributed to the demise of Peter DeBoer as well. Coming up next, how that trio is doing for Team Canada at the World Championships. We'll check in more after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Summer is coming, and with summer, you're going to need some food on the go. Okay, over there? Built Bars are the perfect snack to take with you on family vacations with the Golics. Of course, throw them in your bags, in your kids' backpacks, wherever you can find some room. Make sure that everyone has a bar. The best part of Built Bars, healthy and delicious, and there's no more sacrificing delicious food for health. With Built Bar, you can have both, and it's easy. All you have to do is .com. All Built Bars and Puffs are covered 100% real chocolate. That means with Built Bar, you can eat healthy and enjoy doing so. And I still have one birthday cake Built Bar Puff, which you can see on your screen right there. Let's go to Goblin. Those are pretty good.
I could have been better prepared. Well, actually, my screen's mirrored, so I would have to go the other way. But that could have been fun. Bar. If I was a better podcaster, I would have done that.
And those puffs are great. And, of course, there's a lot of great flavors as well. We've tried the banana cream pie. There's the churro. Who doesn't like a bar that tastes like a churro? And of course, there's that mix box. It comes with 12 flavors, including these puffs. The puffs are terrific. And thanks again to Built Bar for sending them to myself and to Chris. And again, my favorite flavor now, well, of course, I like the birthday cake because that was something they sent us, right? For no additional cost. But I also like banana cream pie. So go to built.com, get all of your favorites. Again, they are all available there. Use the promo code LOCK15. Get 15% of your order. Use the promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com. Welcome back to Locked On Golden Knights. Thanks for making us your first listen. For your second listen, make sure that you check out Locked On Now. That podcast, night caps of every NHL game with analysis from our local experts. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. And what did Tampa Bay have? Something like 2 or 3 power play goals last night? I mean, I was at the WNBA game last night, and I was just checking in on my phone. Stood out, and again, VGK would not have gone far, folks, in the playoffs because they stinking couldn't score on the power play. Everyone that's winning is scoring power play goals, right? Everyone that's winning right now.
No doubt, and there's been a lot of goals scored. Oh my goodness, every game seems like 5-4, 6-3, stuff like that. And without those power play goals, you're not going to get very far. But I mean, Tampa, my goodness, Florida is the favorite to advance out of that series, and Tampa just comes in and says, "Hey, folks, we got 2 Stanley Cups in the last 2 years. In case you all forgot about that, there was a semi-controversial goal in that game where there might have been a little goaltender interference. Bobrovsky was right on the edge of the crease, and I watched it a few times this morning, and I think the right call was a goal, and they got it right.
Really?
But I think so because he's right on the edge of the crease. Right on the edge of the crease. There's a little bit of contact. It's not egregious, though. Yeah, a little bit of contact right there. His head was kind of over the crease, and my initial gut was goal. I watched it a couple times, and I'm okay with the call.
Okay, and then, of course, we saw Jordan Binnington. Oh, my goodness, was he terrific? Or that should have been a 10-goal game for the Avalanche.
Yeah.
He stopped over 50 shots on goal, and I think it was something like 13-0, the shots in OT. This Avalanche team really can push hard. Binnington was sensational. He made a one save in overtime where it went off his pad. He's going to his right. The next shot comes, and he has to go quickly to his left and makes the glove save. Unbelievable in net last night. That was an unbelievable performance and a great game, and again, an overtime thriller. And we knew that St. Louis was going to be really difficult to handle in this series, and they're definitely proving to be a tough out.
St. Louis deserves to be there, and they deserve the respect of, they are a recent Stanley Cup champion as well, in case people forgot that going into this series. So the big question about that series is the glass half full or is it half empty? Yes, they took, St. Louis that is, took Colorado to overtime. Colorado gave them their best, but they survived. They were simply one shot away from winning that game, if you will, either late in the third or going to overtime. Yeah, they registered a shot on goal, of course. Or the glass half empty side, maybe 3/4 empty, was how they were just brutally outplayed. But it's one game of a 7-game series, and St. Louis is going to give a fight. Florida, Tampa, I think that one's probably going to go the distance as well. And we got some more hockey tonight. This is it's the best time of year for hockey. Unfortunately, we're watching from afar though.
Yeah, for sure. And we've 3 active players playing for Team Canada in the World Championship. You've got Zach Whitecloud and Logan Thompson. And that Canadian team now is 3-0. They play, I think, Kazakhstan will be their next game. That's coming up, Chris, on Thursday. And you know that Kazakhstan roster inside and out, I'm sure.
But Borat?
But Wah with a goal and 2 assists through 3 games, so that's pretty good. He scored one of the goals in Canada's win over Italy, 6-1 on Saturday. And we know that Whitecloud has not scored because we check the box score every day. However, he's a +3 so far. So, again, he's had that presence like he had with VGK. And then there's Thompson. Thompson started 2 of the 3 games for Team Canada. and he's posted a 928 save percentage, just 2 goals against average per game. So that's sensational. Then, of course, that diving save against Slovakia that made a lot of the we saw on TV, obviously on SportsCenter, and it went viral really fast. But yeah, talk about those three players, their contributions, and you have to believe that Thompson is just getting in some really good repetitions, on a global scale.
Thompson is blossoming before our eyes. We saw it happen at the end of last season. We saw it happen in, well, the Orleans and then Henderson, if you want to go that deep into things. And LT is going to make things very interesting as the goaltending decisions need to be made. I'll say it again, his value on the market is extremely high right now. Should the VGK decide to utilize him as an asset to do something with the current roster, or as having a predominant or dominant role, if you will, in the goalie rotation. Nick Waz, Zach Whitecloud. I mean, Nick Waz registering points. Zach Whitecloud a +3. I know a lot of people are throwing out the plus minus stat nowadays. I don't necessarily understand why, but I love plus minus, and Zach Whitecloud is a +3. He's taking care of home base first, and he has speed. He has also size. Zach Whitecloud has the ability to have a little bit of a Shea Theodore to him as far as pushing the puck up ice and stuff like that. And Zach Whitecloud is a player I would love to see we tie up for an extremely long time if we can, because I think his value, as should he ever go to free agency in the next 2 to 3 years, his value is going to be extremely high. And he's a player that can be on our top 4, top 2 for a very long time to come. We love him in Vegas. We love what he does on the ice. We love his leadership off the ice. And I could even see him wearing a letter, in the next 3, 4, 5 years too.
Well, didn't they signed White Cloud to that extension this past fall?
How long do we sign?
6 years, 16
Oh,
and a
okay.
half million. It was a 6-year.
If I was a better podcaster, I would know these things.
Well, at least you got some good notes in for net, for instance, because we've been wanting to get that out there all along. But then coming up tomorrow, Chris, we'll talk more about the search for a new head and much, much more. Again, things are moving quickly, obviously behind the scenes. And whatever news we get, follow us, obviously, at Locked On VGK, of course, on Twitter, because that's where we'll put any breaking news. Chris, have a great day, man. It's good to catch up, as always. And we thank everyone in right here on Locked On Golden Knights. And don't forget that you can also listen to Locked On NHL, from the second round matchups now to each Stanley Cup kiss. Locked On NHL covers the playoffs like no other, and hear the latest news and opinions from all the local experts every Monday through Friday. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. We'll get through this day, I promise you. We're almost there to Friday, okay? For my man, Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco. So long for now from Las Vegas, and thanks for tuning in to Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.